What's up, everybody? This is Cam Hand, the Fantasy Man, coming at you with our post-draft rankings. This was a good draft. I had a lot of fun. On the phone with you guys. The couple that were the quote in towners or not out of towners. But yeah, let's get into it. I picked this really cool what's this called theme for the slideshow, unlike Will, who just he's like a second rate podcaster, for the Dynasty League, putting out stuff that doesn't even go out on YouTube and doesn't even have cool themes, but it's cool. All right, so 12th, I gave everybody basically a grade, like you're doing a test on each category. You'll see here. The first one was 12. I think Dylan has the worst team. He got a 76, which, not the worst. Running backs, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley. I like it. I don't like Jonathan Taylor that much. I mean, I think Barkley's good, but so good running backs. Wide receiver, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith. Okay. B, if you ask me. DJ Moore, I think, is going to get less work this year because of the additions of Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen. And then I think Devontae Smith also is okay. It was like 17th, 15th best wide receiver last year. He's okay. Stafford and Bowers, Stafford was the 15th best QB last year. Bowers is a rookie with a terrible quarterback. Which, yes, my wide receiver number 3 is also a rookie with a terrible quarterback, but Najee and Pollard as flex. No, don't really care for that. Both on not good teams, with competition. Moss, Zach Moss, maybe, that he's notable. I only put notable bench guys on here. Brandon Cooks, maybe, probably nothing though. Curtis Samuel, maybe. Gabe Davis, maybe. So I don't think he's got a good bench. I think his bench is failing grade there. I think his worst pick was Najee in the 5th. Didn't really have a best pick. Maybe Saquon, I guess. He didn't do. So I'm doing one draft dab for everybody. Dylan didn't do anything. Maybe that could be a dab. He just sat there in complete silence, taking long times to take his draft pick. Causing Ash to just go into a full rage. But I wish I could pick you, or I wish I could quit you pick. Caitlin, you're back there. But this is the pick, if anyone's seen Brokeback Mountain. I wish I knew how to quit you. It's the person you want to quit, but you just can't, and Dylan didn't really have any of that. Dylan doesn't really have a guy. So anyway, he didn't. That's a picture of Jonathan Taylor injured. I'm going to go through these other guys quicker because that one took a while. But Greg, 11th place. Didn't love Greg's draft. I think A-Chain was a reach. I don't love A-Chain. They got a rookie running back. He's got a huge injury problem. Mostert's the goal line back. So whatever. McCaffrey's good, obviously. So he's, good running backs. Wide receiver, Cup and Tank Dell. I think Tank Dell was a horrendous pick. Cup is fine. Cup's good, I guess, in the 3rd. Good value. Richardson and Njoku are okay. 78. Kamara and Xavier Worthy are okay. I don't love Xavier Worthy. I think the Chiefs spread the ball around. I think they also they still have Rashee Rice as the 1. They have Kelsey there still. They have added Hollywood Brown, who's good. So I don't really get why Greg was obsessed with Xavier Worthy, but he was. Only notable bench guys, Hopkins and Wicks from Green Bay. So don't really love them. Don't really love his bench either. And Kamara's okay. Tank Dell and A-Chain, I think, were his worst picks. I think he took them like Tank Dell is his number 2 receiver, is rough. Cup in the 3rd is okay, good value. Greg just loves Nico, loves Tank Dell. I don't think Greg got the memo that they added Stephon Diggs, who's gonna literally be complaining the whole season and tank their season if he doesn't get 8 catches a game. So I think that's something that Greg must have missed in his research this year. He also, Greg didn't realize that wide receivers were going to go be flying off the board. I was doing mock drafts. Every time I did a mock draft with anybody, Broker, Greg, Hunter, anybody I did a mock draft with, they were all picking receiver like crazy. Like I knew that receivers were going to be hard to find in later rounds, and Greg didn't know that. So I think that's Dabs and Xavier Worthy. I wish I could quit you pick. I think we're witnessed Greg's new Gabe Davis. It's his new guy. Xavier Worthy will probably have a Gabe Davis-esque season, and next year and then a year after that, Greg will still not be able to quit him. Doug, number 10. I got a lot of trash talk from Doug, as to be expected, but Mixon and Swift as running backs, fine. AJ Brown and Puka, good. I mean, I gave them a high A for or a mid-tier A for AJ and Puka. It's good. Purdy and Andrews, I don't like, Purdy really in fantasy. Andrews obviously good, although he's getting up there in age and he's also got a little bit of an injury history. I think DK and Ramondre Stevenson are a pretty bad flex position. Ramondre Stevenson's going to be on the worst offense in the league with a horrible offensive line. And DK is on an okay team. He's okay, I guess. JSN might take some stuff from him. DK's a little bit too toxic for me. I think that hurts him as well. In game, I like Brian Thomas. Romeo Dobbs, maybe he's good. But yeah, I just don't like Doug's flex or his bench. And his running backs are okay. And he picked a bunch of weird running backs later in the draft. It was like the rookie running back for Arizona, a couple other strange running backs. I thought they were just kind of weird picks by Doug, not really high upside picks in the late rounds by Doug. I like Brian Thomas in the 8th round. I really liked him. And his dads were roasting me for drafting ETN, and he constantly is bringing up every time I talk to Doug about fantasy football, he just talks to me about my dynasty team. I feel like every day for Doug, he wakes up, checks my dynasty team, looks at it, and then gets on with this. He's obsessed with my dynasty team. He didn't really pick any of these guys that he normally picks, so couldn't give him anything there. And the ETN roasting also is just ridiculous. I mean, ETN was the 3rd best running back last year in PPR, and I think he'll be better this year. So I don't know what his problem is with it. I couldn't tell you. Maybe I should have taken AJ Brown, who was like the 7th receiver last year. So, I mean, I don't want to trash talk AJ Brown. I would have taken him if he was there, but ETN's good. So, Doug doesn't know what he's talking about. Matt 9, not loving Matt's team. A lot of people have been accusing me of, talking up Matt a little bit too much this year. And, maybe you're right. Gibbs and James Conner, I don't love. Gave him a C for that. Gibbs already coming in with an injury, and he still has Montgomery as the vulture. So whatever. Connor has a rookie running back that Doug drafted, maybe cuts into his work. He always gets hurt. Who knows? Garrett Wilson and Diggs. Don't like Diggs. I like him about as much as I like the guys that Greg. I mean, there's just like the 3 of them are just. There's too much. There's too much clutter in Houston's receivers, including the tight end gets a lot of work too. So I wouldn't pick any Houston receiver personally. But Diggs, don't love him. Garrett Wilson, I famously don't really get. I mean, I know he's had terrible quarterbacks, but he's like the 30th, 28th wide receiver every year. And we're supposed to expect him to go up to like top 10 because of a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers who hasn't played good in like 3 years. I just would like to see it first. I'm not buying it. Josh Allen and Pitts is good. McLaurin and Deontay Johnson, I like that. I love McLaurin. I really wanted McLaurin this year. Matt sniped him hard for me. That was tough. Jamison Williams, Jerome Ford, those 2 guys are legit bench guys, but not much else there. Worst pick, Diggs in the 3rd. Best pick, McLaurin in the 5th. He dabs for having no dabs. He didn't really do anything of interest, so I gave him dabs for that, and he doesn't really have any guys yet, so couldn't give him there. Will, didn't really like his team. He got the Rams punt returner, Kyron Williams, and then Javonte Williams. Just realized it was 2 Williams. I like Javonte Williams okay. Amon-Ra and Waddle. Love Amon-Ra, obviously. Like Waddle a little bit, not as much as most people. I don't know. He just hasn't really. Well, he's like, I don't know. He's got injury problems, and been. He hasn't finished as a top receiver. At least last year he didn't. So I just am skeptical. Kyler and Kittle combo, fine, but not great. Amari Cooper and Rice, okay. Again, I think the Chiefs spread it around a lot. Rice might get suspended, but they say it won't. Amari Cooper, okay. They're just kind of B's for me. Like, okay, they don't do much for me. And then he got Corum, Chuba, and McLaughlin, who are okay. I mean, at least, Kyron, he's got Corum's handcuff and Kyron Williams, so that's nice. But his bench is nothing special. Worst pick, I would say Waddle and Rice back to back. I think he did it. Best pick, Javonte and Brooks. I didn't even put that on his bench because he was probably on IR, but whatever. The running back for Carolina is good. Brooks, I like that pick. And I'd say his dabs are thinking it doesn't matter that Kyron Williams is going to be returning punts. I mean, that clearly matters. These are our last year's top punt returners. Whatever. That's their top punt returners. Notice how you literally, I mean, some of them you can name. Jamison Crowder was okay, like 5 or 6 years ago. Greg Dortch, I've heard his name. DJ Dallas heard it. Like, the people who return punts are people who are the primary punt returners for the team are not good in fantasy. They're not used as primary running backs as well. So maybe I'm wrong. Kyron Williams could be the first. I mean, I'm not saying he's not going to get any run. He's just not going to be the number one. I think it's going to be more of a split backfield. And, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe Kyron Williams, he breaks the mold. He becomes the first punt returner to ever be good in fantasy, but maybe not. Ashton, number 7, famously was a massive crybaby, and in the draft, it was shocking to see. Henry, Zamir White, running backs. I like Derrick Henry. Zamir White's okay. Jamar Chase and Olave. I like Chase. Olave is pretty good. Stroud and McBride's good. Rome Odunze and JSN, I don't like them. And then Jordan Love and Leggett. I will be touching. I'll be doing more. I'm going to be doing dabs on my official week 1 video, like after week 1. I didn't want to, since I'm not home as much anymore, or since I'm not incoming, I can't get as many dabs. Like, I don't get to listen to you guys say dumb stuff as much, so I have to kind of conserve the dabs that I hear. So I'm not going to do a full dab segment in this. So I will get Ashton properly for the amount of dabs that he participated in the week 1 video, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to mention his dabs here, but I didn't like the Rome. I don't really like Rome Odunze that much. I mean, I get he was good in college, but whatever. He's the 3rd receiver on a probably best case scenario, an average team. I do like Derrick Henry in the 3rd's great value. I'll just say his draft dab was, freaking out in the chat. I mean, saying you're not worth my time in that instance was wild. That was, you're not worth, like, fantasy drafts take like 2 hours. I don't know if Ash didn't know that. If no one told him, but he was just unhinged. It was funny to watch. Jamar Chase was, I wish I could quit you pick. Preston, new guy, number 6. We got Pacheco, Rachaad White, pretty good running backs. I think Rachaad White's underrated. He was like the 5th best running back last year. But to people like Doug, it doesn't matter what you actually do in fantasy. It doesn't matter that you're like the 5th best running back. It just matters his like arbitrary opinion. Wide receivers, Jefferson and Keenan Allen. Jefferson's good. Keenan Allen, not so much, but, pretty, who knows? Maybe Keenan Allen's good this year. Mahomes and Kelsey, you would think would be the best. I mean, Mahomes is the best quarterback in the actual NFL. Kelsey's the best tight end in the NFL. But Mahomes was the 8th best quarterback in fantasy last year, and Kelsey was the 3rd best tight end, and Preston took them high. So I didn't love that, but they're still okay. Godwin and Eckler is okay. I mean, I think Eckler's pretty washed, and Godwin's old too. Thielen, he's got a great bench though. Thielen, Jacoby Myers, Shakir's great. Christian Watson could be the number one on that team. Goddard has value, so he's got a great bench. He reached on Mahomes and Kelsey. Rashad White in the fifth is a great pick. That was a great value pick. And I would say that his dad was being in Asheville for the draft. I mean, being in Asheville in general is kind of cringe, but he knew the draft was coming. He went to Asheville instead of drafting with me. That's dabs, if you ask me. So that's rough, but it's okay. Bijan and Mostert for Bobby is good. That's very good. Mostert's okay. And Bijan's going to be great, I think. Drake London and Debo is okay. B plus maybe. Hurts and Ferguson is a very good, I love Ferguson. Hurts is obviously a great fantasy QB. T. Higgins and Jaden Reed are pretty good, high B. And then his bench is not that good. Zeke, Chase Brown, Tua, Schultz, Judy. Hunter will be trading for Judy, I'm sure, within week 2. Chase Brown and Zeke at 8 and 9 were pretty blah picks. T. Higgins in the 5th round. I think T. Higgins will be good this year. And that 5th round is good for a good flex. And then keeping the name Lil Slippy, I feel like he's doubling down on it, and I just think it's the dumbest name ever. And his I wish I could quit you pick is Zeke, obviously. Sam coming in with number 4. I'm telling you what, I've gained a lot of respect for Sam. Just comes in, he's there, he grinds, picks a good team, doesn't say anything. It's like funny at this point that he doesn't say anything. I've done a real 180 on Sam, but Jacobs and Montgomery is okay. B minus. CD and Ayuk is great. Ayuk's amazing. Hunter could have taken Ayuk instead of Nico Collins, but he didn't. But I love the CD Ayuk combo. Dak and Kincaid to complete the stack of CD and Dak is great. Kincaid's obviously going to have a good year. It's an A. Pickens and Hollywood Brown, I would say, is pretty good. I think Pickens is the number 1 receiver on his team, and he just got to upgrade a quarterback. And Hollywood Brown's fine too, so I think that's good. His bench is okay. Dowdle, Warren, Lockett, Komet. Worst pick, Warren. I don't know. That's not really that bad of a pick. I just had to put something. I just don't really like Warren, but he got him late. Ayuk in the 2nd, at the end of the 2nd round, is great. And then he couldn't quit Cowboys players. I think Sam's a noted Cowboys fan, and he just can't. I mean, he's got Dowdle, Dak, CD. He's just a Cowboys guy through and through. I would say number 3, me. You can say what you want. I love ETN. Again, he was the number 3 running back this year, and I think last year, and I think he'll be better. Aaron Jones was a little bit of a panic pick. I think he'll be okay. I don't love the injury history. I don't love his team. I think Aaron Jones is okay. Love Harrison and Pittman. Marvin Harrison, number 1 receiver, super talented with a good quarterback. Pittman, he's solid every year, top 10. I like Goff was the number 7 quarterback, and see that's the problem with what Preston did is he took, or any of you got so Preston, for example, took Mahomes, who was the 8th best QB in round 4. I took Goff, who was the 7th best QB last year, in round 11 or something. That's why I don't like picking quarterbacks early, but. I think Jaden Daniels has some serious potential to be good this year, so I like having a safe Goff pick and then the upside Daniels. Neighbors, number 1 receiver with a terrible Danny Jones, but, they got to throw to somebody. Ridley, again, number 1 wide receiver, no competition. That's what I like here, boys, is Pittman, Harrison, Neighbors, Ridley, no competition for targets. Gus Edwards, I think, could be good. They like to run a lot, or Harbaugh likes to run a lot, so, whatever. That was a dart throw. I think Brian Robinson's a phenomenal pick. Sutton, again, number 1 receiver, 0 competition, and, who's their QB? I can't remember anyway, the QB rookie has been getting a lot of hype, so I like Sutton this year. And then Josh Palmer is the potential number 1 for Justin Herbert, so I really like my bench. I think my bench is really good. Aaron Jones, I don't love Aaron Jones as a panic pick. I think getting Palmer and Brian Robinson in the 8th and 9th round was great value. I love Robinson this year. And I do feel like I was underprepared in between picks. Like I'd make my picks and I would kind of just talk, or I wouldn't prep for my next move because they're so far away. And then all of a sudden my pick would be there and I'd be kind of scrambling. So that was a dab. And I can't quit Freiermuth. I love Freiermuth. I've had him in a lot of leagues. I've tried to trade for him in Dynasty. Broker, number 88, or a grade of 88. Brees and Tajay Spears is fine. Spears is okay. Devontae and Zay Flowers is passable. I don't like Devontae this year. I hate his quarterback. He's going to be mad the whole time. Zay Flowers is actually not as good as you would think. Like he finished like 15th last year or something. You know, maybe he gets better, but maybe he doesn't. Who knows? Lamar and Sam Laporta is probably the best combo of quarterback tight end in the league. Christian Kirk, Jordan Addison. If Jordan Addison's, going to play the whole year, that's good. Christian Kirk, if he stays healthy, I love Kirk. Probably the number one for Jacksonville. And then, Dobbins could be good. Lab McConkey also has a lot of potential. So I like Broker's team. I didn't like the Devontae pick. Christian Kirk in the 6th round was a really good value there. And he can't quit Brees Hall. He loves Brees Hall. He's got him on his dynasty team. And here I go, gassing up Hunter with the number 1 team. I love Ken Walker. Love him this year. Love James. I don't love James Cook. I like James Cook. Tyreek Hill and Mike Evans are probably the 2 best receiver combo in our league. Burrow, I don't love him because of the injury stuff. And Ingram, I think was the 3rd, 4th, 5th best tight end last year. Ingram's good. Nico Collins, while I don't like him in the 2nd round, is a good flex. And then Devin Singletary is number 1 RB on his team, potentially. I don't love him, but I like him. Keon Coleman, I like Keon Coleman. Mike Williams has some potential. Pop Douglas, maybe the number 1 receiver in New England. Caleb Williams, I think is a good draft this year. So I like Hunter's team a lot. And Nico Collins in the 2nd round was a way overdraft. I'd say 4th or 5th. Especially when he could have taken like Ayuk or, there's a lot of real number 1s he could have taken. Walker in the 5th was amazing value. I would say his dab is he just takes forever to put us in our draft positions. Like he put it like an hour before the draft. I'm like, I know it doesn't actually matter, but I want to see my draft. I want to see myself in the position, like in the app, but no, he doesn't actually put us in our draft positions quick. And he also started the draft a minute late. So I'm giving him a dab for that. Nico Collins, he loves Nico. Has him in Dynasty. He loves Ken Walker, always had or has. And so those are his I wish I could quit you picks. This going really long, but we got a wedding rankings featuring Caitlin. So Caitlin did these rankings for us. It is based on the wedding that is coming up in about 19 days. Let's see what we got. Who would give the best wedding speech? Caitlin thinks Hunter at number 1. I can't say I disagree with her. But I will say after Hunter being, I talked to Hunter about giving a speech at the rehearsal dinner. He's very nervous about that. So I thought, I don't know, my Hunter stock is going down a little bit in my mind after I've talked to him about him being nervous to give a speech at the rehearsal dinner. Me, number 2, she thinks. I think I give a great, speech. So that's all. I'll leave it there. Dylan's, very well spoken, very well prepared. He's low-key sensitive. I think he would do a good job. Will, I think he gets up there. He's funny, so I agree with that. And I think he would be well prepared. Ashton, I mean, as long as somebody like the speech before him doesn't take too much time, I think he would do okay. But if that speech before Ashton takes too long, he's out of there. He's walking out the room. And then, you see the rest. Bobby's a personal guy. Greg, I think I agree. She thinks Greg would give the worst. Preston, I don't think there'd be any argument for Greg, Preston, or Doug that they give horrible speeches. So, I think that's a good list. We got best dancer at the wedding. Dylan, noted. He puts himself out there. Great. Greg, Greg's 12. No surprise there. I don't think Greg claims to be a good dancer. Will and me, nobody's really a good dancer, but I think it's important to see what Caitlin, thinks of everybody's dancing capabilities. Doug 9, Preston 10. Preston taking a lot of heat in these wedding topics. We got next to get married, so technically it's me, and then the obvious next one would be Will because he has a girlfriend and he is, a hopeless romantic. Bobby 3, I told her, hey, Bobby has a girlfriend at least. So Bobby then bumps up to 3. Matt, I hear, also has a girlfriend. So I told her that. So we put Matt at 4. Sam, who knows, but Sam 5. And then Dylan, Doug, Hunter, Greg, Broker, and then Ashton and Preston are already married. So that is that. Yeah. And then lastly, most intoxicated at the wedding, I did inform Caitlin that Bobby was in fact an alcoholic. So that's why Bobby is number 1. Dylan, I think we just discussed how many times he's puked around me. He puked at 4th of July as well when Caitlin was there. So I think that's the reasoning behind that. Hunter, Will, Cameron Broker, he's got his, history with drinking. So who knows what's going on there. Doug, Greg, Matt, Preston doesn't drink. Ashton is probably, if there was like too long of a line. I mean, there's probably be a long line at the bar. And Ashton would probably get sick of waiting and get pretty upset about that. So he probably would just not drink at all because he'd be all upset about that. Sam's a computer, so he doesn't drink. And, I think Matt's a sleeper here. I feel like Matt, I don't know him well, but I think he's low-key, he can throw some down. So anyway, that's that. Most Intoxicated. Thank you guys for listening. Super excited for the Thursday game. I will be in touch. And, let's have a good season.